Hey everybody, welcome back. Last week we had a major milestone. We got the motor spinning. This week we're going to go ahead and get into the battery management system. So we're using the Dilithium design system. We'll let you see a little bit about what's going on there. Hopefully we'll get into some cooling and also trying to see if we can get that second battery pack hooked up. So let's get into it. All right, I'm working on the BMS system here. So first I unplugged all the plugs, and then I connected to power, and the output is a kind of a serial port that's over here, and it comes in and it plugs into your computer with USB. So one of the first things you need to do is, what does it call it here? These VCP installations, so essentially a virtual COM port. So it gives you some good instructions here. I got mine from the Thunderstruck EV. So anyways, they give lots of good instructions. Again, I'm not super computer savvy, but once you get those ports kind of sorted out, when you hook it up to your BMS, you get this screen here. And so there's commands. Again, the instructions are pretty good, but there's commands on how to set your lower voltage limit and your high voltage limit. So it's got here 3.3 volts for the lower and 4.2 volts for the upper. And again, that's each individual cell within the battery module. This is the minimum balancing voltage. So once it goes below that, it won't try and balance the cells. Right now I've got the balance option on, and yeah, so that's kind of the quick overview. Right now it's giving me the kind of blink. I don't know if you can see that. But red and green. So right now that's means there's kind of an error code. So I think it's just because I don't have the cells plugged in yet. So I will now go and plug them in. Actually, I need to do this to the other BMS. So I'll do that real quick. Maybe I'll let you watch, and then we'll plug in the cells and see how things respond. All right, so I'll go ahead and walk through the second one. So I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this first one. All right, so it says port, serial port COM7. So it has to use this program called Putty. And so for here, we're gonna pick serial, and it was COM7. Okay, that looks good. BMSC prompt. If I type in set, it'll tell me what things are set at. So now if I hit set, it'll tell me all the ones that I just changed. So now the second module's been updated. And the reason to do this without the packs connected is the default here may not be what you want for your battery pack. The voltages may be wrong, temperatures may be wrong, other things. You may not want it to balance and it's set to balance, or vice versa. So changing all these settings before we connect the battery pack, that's what we're planning on. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect the packs and see how the system responds. See if we can read all the cells, all the temperatures. We can kind of disconnect it if we see some errors. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and connect just one BMS quickly, and then click, or I'll type the command show cells. I just want to make sure it reads it. I think I'm gonna power down, put them all in, power up, hit show cells, and then hopefully everything works well. And if it doesn't, we'll unplug it. All right, I just plugged in all the BMS cables. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug things back in. All right, so it says it detected all them. I don't know what the dis means. It looks like they're all there, all 96. And as you can see, they're all pretty dang close. They're all right around 3.5 something. So here's a low one, 3.433. Well, I will look into what the DIS means. All right, so I just hit show. It says the pack voltage is at 339 volts. There's 96 cells. The average is 3.5. Alert, so it says discharging, which, okay, I don't know exactly what that means, but that's maybe okay. Maybe that means it's kind of low. And then configuration not locked. So if those are the only two alerts, I think I'm okay. All right, I'm going to type in show map. So again, it's got, this is pack 1, and essentially you've got 8. These are just the connectors that go into the BMS. And so it's got cells C1 through 12, and so on and so forth, all the way down to 96. So it's detecting all those. There you go. Dis means the cell is being discharged. So that's what that meant when we were looking at all those cell voltages. So again, these are all the, each one of the BMSs has LTCs in them, and that's kind of where these come from, the plugs. And so it gives you kind of the voltage, state of charge. Anyways, lots of information here. Show stats. So again, I'll go through all your 96 cells and kind of give you some information on each of them. So you've got your voltage, your min, your max. Again, this is of that one. Now, since I just plugged it in, I'm sure all these min and maxes will be the exact same as the voltage. The deviation, delta, again, lots of good information. All right, now here's the thermistors. Let's see if we got this right. OTH. It says the thermistor is enabled but not connected. Okay, so I just needed to enable the thermistors and then they're active. I need to just check my wiring. I can't remember how many are plugged in, how many thermistors are plugged into the first BMS versus the second one. So I'll look at that, but that's good. Those three seem to be working. All right, so I'll have to figure it out. I checked the connections. I should have, I believe, yeah, five thermistor readings on the LTC8, and then the first, or the second one, I guess, or it's showing 3, I should have 5 there as well. So I'll have to check some wiring. Yeah, other than that, the cells look like they're reading okay, and so that's good. All right, so this is the thermistor situation I've got. So it's showing 1, 2, and 5. Number 6 it's not, and then 3 and 4 it's not. So 3 and 4 I'm not, I just wonder if it's not plugged in. But either way, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the BMS from power, and then I'll disconnect the individual plugs from their battery modules and do some continuity and see if we've got some wiring problems or just if we haven't joined it to the BMS units. All right, so I unplugged the BMS modules, then unplugged the connectors, did some continuity tests. So from the thermistor inputs all the way back to the battery modules, they all pinned out exactly how I think they should. So I'll fire it up again. I kind of push the connectors in extra hard. If they still don't show, I'm trying to go through my troubleshooting process, but to me it means that potentially the thermistor and the battery module is not hooked up or not functioning properly. So the good news is there are kind of 4 thermistor per battery module. So I can take the wires out of one and try it in the next and see if then it starts working. I think that's the next thing. Again, I'll try this, and if it powers up and finds it, then we're good, and it just kind of things weren't pushed in. If it doesn't, I'll take the wires out of the one thermistor slot and put it in the next one and see if it finds it. All right, so I tried again, and it's still not reading. Again, this one T2, that one's for cell 6. And then we've got here, I think in number 8, we're supposed to show an additional 2. I think I said 5, but there's just 2 here. All right, here's the pinout of the battery modules. For my wiring, I chose pin 7 and 16, which is 7 and 16, so that's thermistor 2. And I'm gonna switch it to pin 6 and 15. which is thermistor 1. I'm going to do that and see if the software will pick it up. If the BMS will pick up that thermistor reading, because I did the continuity check for the wires and everything seems good. So we'll keep troubleshooting. All right, good, bad, or indifferent. I swapped out the there and swapped them to there. So anyways, one over, and then I went to this guy and it showed up, and then I enabled the thermistor and it's there. So what that means to me is, for whatever reason, in the battery module, that thermistor is not working, that particular one. So I'm assuming, you know what, maybe what I'll do, like I said, the other one, no, that's right. Yeah, so it's an 8. So the other one, so that was battery module 4. So I'll do the same thing for battery module 3 and then battery module 6. So I'll swap all those and see if I can get them working. All right, so I did number 4 there and it works. So I need to do number 3. The other thing is I was getting 3 cell readings, which I thought were 1, 2, and 5, but I had it kind of flipped. So I was actually getting 12, 6, and 5. So I need to go back to modules 1, 2, and 3 and switch the thermistor wires. So again, cells 1, 2, and 3. So I need to take this one off, which means kind of decoupling the high voltage lines and scoot these out because they're all on the back side. So need to do all that, and hopefully we test them, they're all good. All right, so kind of pulled the batteries off, had to take some of the cables off, got the pins, or essentially the thermistor wires, out of the one slot, put them in the next slot. So we'll go ahead and fire up the BMS and see if we've got thermistor readings on all the cells now. All right, so for the first pack, I got all the thermistors reading. So probably doesn't make sense here on the screen, but these two are 3 and 4. So that's 4, that's 3, and then up here we've got 1, 2, 5, and 6. So I think that's good. I'm going to now probably switch over to doing the cooling. So my thought is, for the cooling, again, if I have like any leaks and all this stuff, I'm gonna have to get back at the batteries, the battery modules, and fix things. So I'll do the cooling once I kind of can confirm that we don't have any leaks kind of up front. I can button this up, and same thing in the back. I've got the cooling plates that need to go in between those 2 battery modules, and then also back here the big cooling plate. So if we don't have any leaks anywhere, I can start putting in the battery modules for the second pack. So again, this is like 11 and 12, and then 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to work on cooling. All right, so I'm going to start with the radiator right here, but that'll actually give very limited access here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put the front of the battery box on. Fingers crossed that all the cooling works and we don't have to dig back into it. But otherwise, because if I put the radiator on, get all the fluid in, I'm just not going to have good access to kind of put the front on. So we'll go ahead and put the front on. All right, got it, at least the bottom half here, buttoned back up. I'm really hoping I don't have any leaks or issues with the, essentially with any of the coolant system, any of the joints or things, because it's just pretty time consuming and just not a lot of fun to get things on and off. But things are really secure in here, so I'm feeling good about that. Again, the BMS shows that we've got all our cells, everything wired correctly, and our thermistors. So next I'm just going to put on the radiator, connect things to the radiator. I got to put on my 2 cooling plates back there and kind of plumb those up as well. Start filling the coolant and test out the system. And again, fingers crossed we don't have any leaks or other problems. I got the cooling plates kind of all plumbed, so I got the fittings here, plugs there, so essentially it's just one kind of big cooling loop. All right, so I got the back plates here, fittings done, tubing attached. So I've got out and in, and essentially it's gonna be a little crazy here to see, but I've got this one is a flow control for the rear plates. So I open that, and again, one of the ends comes over here, the other one goes over to the other plate. And this guy is flow control for the kind of rear back here, so for this rear plate. And then on the other side, again, we have in and out. Well, you'll have to believe me, but there's essentially a T back here. Oh, yeah, I guess you can kind of see it. There's a T back here, and that's essentially joins back up. So this T over here is for things going essentially cold coolant going into the plates, into this rear plate, into the motor. On the return side, we've got a T here that joins, again, called the hot side, from the plates and the motor. It goes back to the radiator. So rear is now done. Cross your fingers, hopefully no leaks. Now we'll go on to the radiator. All right, so I got the bottom radiator mounts secured, and so this is now kind of bolted to the bottom. I've got some brackets here that'll go on top. It's got some threaded rods here that are welded on. So it'll go from that support here, and then bottom and top will be on, and I'll connect the hoses to there and there. And I believe at that point we'll be able to start filling up and checking for leaks. All right, I got the top brackets on, so now I will try not to make a mess with all the residual coolant, but putting coolant, connecting the hose there and down there. So down there I'm going to have a place for a drain. Up here I'm going to have a place for kind of a vent. Okay, I got the return side plumbed up to the radiator. This again will be my vent, so as I'm filling it up I can kind of debubble from here. And on the other side, again, got it connected here and back to the pump. So this will be a drain if I need it. The only other thing I need to do is I just got some of these hose clamps to kind of clamp things out of the way where I need them. But I think before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and fill it up and see if we got leaks. All right, so this is the back plate again. It's got another, I don't know if you can see that. It's got another leak. Anyways, just right there. So I'll have to take the plate out and see if there's anything we can do, or if we just abandon this design. For the time being, I'm just bypassing it. So these are both off. and so nothing's going through the plate. I do want to check it again. I have to remember, but I thought I checked it with some compressed air, so maybe that was before I put on the fittings. So I'm wondering if it's just the fittings there, but either way, I want to kind of test the rest of the cooling system. So I've just got this here and everything's kind of blocked off. So I'll go ahead and keep doing with the cooling. All right, so I got it filled up. It's still kind of debubbling, but you can kind of hear the pump surging a little bit. So I need to keep it going. But one of the other things I want to do is kind of open up some of these valves. So I want to get the front valve open to get all the coolant flowing through these front cooling plates, see if I got any leaks there. And then again, I'll do it through these rear cooling plates, see if I got any leaks there. All right, I don't know if you can see, but I'm slowly opening the valve, and it's cool to see the fluid kind of starting to track and go. I need to add a little more fluid, but we'll keep watching. All right, again, I need to let this debubble more, but you can see this one here. You can kind of see just the fluid flow. This is through the cooling plate number 4 here. But all of them seem like they've got some decent coolant going in and out. So we'll open up these back plates and see if we can get the same thing. Okay, so here's one of the rear cooling plates. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of hard. You can probably see here, but you can see again, still got a few bubbles going, but that kind of helps me also understand the rate of flow. So I just still need to debubble, and I'm going to test this back circuit as well for the rear cooling plate that is leaking. So just want to make sure that all the other circuits can run and that we got everything topped off. All right, we're pretty close to debubbled. If only we had that back plate that didn't have a leak, I think we could put the second battery pack in. With that leak though, I got to take that out and see if that's something that can be, if it was a quick fix or something, a problem. My guess is it's just kind of bad design, and we'll kind of have to go with plan B. So we'll look at that. The other thing though is I really only need one pack to drive, so I can get the other, whatever my second version of that is, I can get that going, and the car doesn't necessarily need to wait in order to drive. So for now, I'll probably close up the coolant system, and yeah, we'll keep going. All right, so one other thing that I wanted to check out is the fan temperature. If I can make sure to get the fan to come on. So right now it says it's 14, so I'm going to put it to 13. So we'll save settings. Now we'll go back, see if the cooling fan comes on. Yeah, that's good. All right, I got the front all buttoned up. Give you a quick tour here, but I think it looks pretty good. We're able to kind of sneak the hose back there, out of the way. Should be out of the way of suspension and everything. Again, we're able to get 4 battery modules in here. Maybe I'll show you a quick image of what normally goes here for this car. But quite the accomplishment to get all that in. Got the radiator in place. The fans are there and they're working. Got the high voltage cables in. This one I still need to kind of put a plug here. But anyways, got the high voltage lines, the monitoring wires. But yeah, it's kind of all buttoned up, starting to look good. Alright, I tried one last repair before I abandoned this, and it seems to be working, so I still may get kind of plan B on order. But yeah, so for now, I think we can go ahead and put the batteries in, the battery modules, and get the thermal paste and get everything going. All right, I got all my battery modules in. I got the BMS wires hooked top and bottom. I've got my little securement bar there, so everything's kind of secure. We've got coolant. So the last thing I need to do is start connecting them in series. But I guess we'll probably do that next. All right, I got these connected in series. This one went a lot easier than the others. No temperature spikes, no sparks or anything like that. So I just need kind of a cable from there to the high voltage box, and then from here to the other two battery modules behind the passenger seat. All right, I was really hoping we could get the second battery pack kind of all up and functional, get it tested with the BMS, but we're out of time, and I think we would have been able to, but for whatever reason we got one battery module that's reading a little low on voltage. So I'm trying to get all the voltages equaled out before we hook up these last two modules. All right, that's all the time we have for this week. See you next week.